23rd while we're here.
Good point.
Excellent idea. I'm
Thanks.
open to a motion to approve those.
I did.
That's second.
Moved and second to approve the minutes.
Who seconded it? I'm sorry.
Bill.
Bill?
Bill.
Discussion questions, if not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Approved. Moving on down to this agenda. We need, before any of these people get here, we need some review and discussions of the ones that are listed on the paper. They were the ones that had the biggest increase, maybe not very many dollars, but the biggest percentage increase, and we need to kind of go through them. Decide what we want to do, and then we can listen to the representatives when they come at a later time this morning. And we'll start out with the first one on the list, is the extension office. And if you remember in your little book, they had some requests, and they had 2 or 3 different options, and we need to talk about those a little, or else get some more questions to ask Cindy whenever she comes. So we're open to discussion for you, lady and gentlemen.
Well, as I remember, one of her 3 possibilities, she wanted a half-time extension of it and do away with her part-time person.
Pardon me?
Where are they at in the book?
Right
First
here.
In the
one.
very
First
beginning.
one. Oh,
Very
no
first
wonder I
one.
had that all turned over.
The rest of them, Jim, we may have to hunt, but this is the first one.
Well, it won't be hard to find that.
Back there, a couple pages is the options they had put together. I guess there's 2 options on this page, and the third option is status quo.
Yeah.
Is it working status quo?
Well, obviously it is.
Depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
They think it's not.
I know I've gotten a couple pieces of mail from individuals claiming that they need more.
One of them, from just the one thing I picked up, they're losing members in 4-H. Now, whether that's got to do with this or not, I don't know. But it is done.
Well, I think a lot of that's kids are so busy with sports things, and that's year-round now. I mean, it just doesn't end.
It could be.
And I know, well, our grandson plays basketball. Go to Grand Rapids, go to Louisville, go to St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis to play games.
Yeah.
Are all counties having the same?
Well, I saw 4-H sale at Huntington, and the numbers in the livestock was down somewhat. I mean, not considerably, but somewhat.
Well, I don't know that these are down considerable either. I just know that they're down, and not just in livestock, I think it's all of it.
But kids are busy, and you know, there are just things going on. School starts earlier, and just a lot of things. And I think that's part of it. I don't know that it's because I think they do an excellent job with 4-H in our extension office. I mean, I think that's kind of a priority, which I think, you know, what we want it to be, and I'm pretty sure it is. I think they're big on 4-H. I don't know what else they do that, you know, I don't know what all other things they do, but
Is
I don't
anybody,
think 4-H, I don't think they slight 4-H in any way.
well, the 4-H is run by so darn many volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
The only thing, has anybody put together a figure of this 2.5, if we get rid of this part-time 29-hour person that we gave them a few years ago and handled a half-time extension educator, what's the extra cost of the county?
Jim, can you answer that?
About $10,000 it looks like.
No, Jen, on the educators only, is Purdue responsible for their benefits? We aren't, are we?
Yeah, we don't pay their benefits. They're
We
contracted
do on the staff,
employees.
but we don't pay on the educators.
Right, the 2 secretaries that they have down there are ours, Cindy and
Yeah.
Janet.
Dave.
Jenny, in here,
Janet's ours.
where in here is
I
the
know
part-time
that she's our
amount?
employee.
Well,
The part-time,
up here,
is that personal service? I mean,
up here on this page, it says
Extension
2.5 is $70,000 our cost.
wait, a minute.
So I don't know what's two?
But, Janet, so it's part of the,
You would get rid of the 12001, the extension assistant, which is 20,300. If you went to 2.5, so you would get rid of that, is what she said.
Yeah.
She would eliminate that 20,000. So the difference between their wages of 40,560 and the part-time employee is 60,860, and the 2.5 full-time extension is 70,083. So
but she did say that we would not be responsible for any benefits, did she?
It says on the-
Even on the half one?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just reading on here.
Yeah, they have
it's a
to run with
contracted employee, right?
Well, that's a question
Oh, I see,
somebody
it
needs
does
to
that.
ask.
It's just right here, it says Purdue pays all benefits,
Right.
So that's
just $10,000 more.
the questions you need to ask
But we're not
Cindy.
paying any benefits on that 20,000 either, that's a
No,
part-time
It's
person.
not benefit job.
I just want you to.
And I don't think we need to make that decision right now. We need to talk about it and decide what questions we need to ask her when she comes in.
So what, if we leave it status quo, how does that work out money-wise?
60,860. If you leave it the way it is right now, it's gonna be with the 2 contracted people, the price this year goes up to 40,560 instead of the 90, whatever she has on her request. And she wanted the part-time person, the 20,000 person bumped up to 20,300, which is 60,860. If you go to option number 2, the 2.5 full-time, which would be all contracted Purdue people, she's saying it's gonna be 70,083, but she's gonna eliminate the 12001. So the difference between the way that it is now and the 2.5 people is $9,223.
From the original time that we went through this, what's the final figure that we're going to have to cut to fall within the guidelines?
To fall in the 2.9, it's
340,000?
and we have the 100,000 in Cadget already.
So that's
It's
240.
2, yeah.
That takes into consideration any additional assessed valuation.
Yeah.
Which that was something he came in and asked in my office. For real estate, the increase so far from Rita, I took what we turned in. The real estate increase is gonna be 7.2%, and the personal property is gonna be 6.5% increase in assessed value this year.
That's pretty large, isn't it?
It's, both of them are pretty large.
Have you got any idea, dollar figures?
No, I won't have, because I don't have anything to judge on.
Well, except,
You could
I
use-
could have taken times an
Times the
average
figure.
tax rate that we
Yeah.
have this year, because I don't have those broken down by township. Read and give me that part.
but the total, so it's assessed valuation that went up to 7 and to 6%.
Real estate, and personal property, 6.5.
So what's the assessed valuation on real estate? And then you could kind of ballpark it,
Yeah.
right,
So
Jim?
you,
I can't use this calculator. Doesn't go to the billings. What, do you want me to take an average tax rate?
Yeah.
yeah,
I really don't think, not that I recommend it, but we're not gonna, there's enough money. We don't have to do, those cuts or, we don't have to cut anything. But I'm not saying that's a prudent thing to do.
Right.
yeah.
But I'm saying we don't have to.
Yeah.
We're in good
Yeah.
shape.
But we
With
just
the
need,
increase in assessed valuation.
yeah, we just need a ballpark set of numbers
That's right.
as we go through this.
That's a really big increase in assessed valuation. That was,
Well, there's a lot- just look at I can't believe the size of pole buildings that's been built, just like Drew's built out there, and I think Brent Trader built a big one like that too, and I think there's numerous of those besides what industrial
Well,
buildings and new homes
if
there
you'd
is.
got all those papers in the mail 3 or 4 weeks ago
Yeah.
from new assessed valuations, and see how much them suckers gone up, you know where it's coming from.
No.
It's just atrocious.
I had both, up and
Huh?
down, I had both.
I think there's a misconception though in the public, and I don't, Kim may not agree with me, he's in business, but he might, but anyway, you know, everybody says, oh boy, this economy's really growing and doing this and this. I think that's a misconception. I think there's definitely signs of improvement, but there's a whole lot of people that's working for less money than they were before.
That's
either
right.
Either in a new job or renegotiated the salaries for their own job.
Yes.
And yeah, the houses are beginning to sell, and, but they're not what they were. Other than farmland, it's just not going up. I mean, it's just creeping. Farmland's going like this, and other stuff's just kind of creeping up. So there's a, I think there's a public misconception that everybody thinks, boy, the economy's back and we can just do
No, it's
whatever,
not
and it's
back.
not back. I
Okay,
don't know what you think, but I agree.
The increase of, between the 2.2 and the 2.1 numbers, adds out to with the tax rate of just 2%, it's like 324,000 increase to 80, or to dollars,
the
from 80
at 2%,
at 2%.
and you said it went up 7?
But the other factor in that too is the NAV, the net assessed values. You gotta remember, I just took off 174 homesteads that aren't gonna be on for next year. So the certified net assessed value after abatements is gonna be larger next year. We've only had 30 people come in after I
Yeah,
took
but
off.
All them letters and stuff, and that's when you only got 30 people.
30 people, so we took them off and we haven't had people complain, and we're starting to get the money from back billing recently. So they knew they had them illegally, so, I mean,
That's considerable dollars.
Yeah.
So
right,
that's the case, that they had them illegally, and so the idea of paying the taxes,
right,
They're
we
gonna
already
pay 'em.
billed them, yeah, so.
Okay, so there, we got some idea of where we're gonna be
Yeah,
at, and so
That's good.
we feel pretty good about
Yeah.
what we gotta do. I'm not saying that we ought to go out and spend a lot of money,
No,
but at least we got that in the back of our head.
but there's
We
some
got
things,
ballpark figures.
and
Yeah.
if there's some things we really think we need to do, we can do them.
Yeah.
And if you looked at the sheets that I gave you the last time for the growth quoting for the average for the state is 2.9, but the average for Whitley County is 3.5. Did you see that on your sheet I
Yes.
gave you last time?
Mhm.
So I just wanted you to be aware.
All right, okay, moving right along. Anything else you wanna talk about? We talked about the extension office, we got thrown out some ideas, and then now
Go to the
when
next
Cindy comes, you can question her, and we make a
Yeah.
decision later today or sometime. All right, thanks. Moving down here to the EMA with Kathy Braxton Ball, and she wanted those radios to hand out. That was one thing I remember.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I remember most also.
That was maybe down.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
No, I wrote down here, so I don't, on that, I wrote down, I wrote no, then I put above it, I put get from state allotment. Now, is there, did she mention something about she could get money from the state to do some of this stuff?
She does a lot. She gets a lot of money from the state.
I'm
Well, I
not
don't
sure
know why I
those
wrote-
weather monitors was included in that. That's a question I probably should ask.
yeah, they used to be, but I think the funding for, the grant funding for the weather radios is running out, so.
You know, she wanted us to pick it up from
Okay.
the.
And that's the only thing in that budget, I think that was a major increase. Anything else we need to talk about on that one? If not, let's move down to Dr. Hatcher in the Health Department, and